Siéntate, bienvenidos a todos. What's up? Oh man, I was watching the Spanish broadcast of Fox Deportes last night to practice my Spanish. Those guys really know how to cover a game. It's pretty nice. Hey, it's been a little while since I did a video, and hey, we're running out of games here left to bet on in the regular season. One thing to note is this is a regular season betting model only. I personally have used it for postseason stuff, but I wouldn't recommend it to just the average Joe watching this. So this is kind of going to be a loss video. I want to cover loss. My first two videos, if you go back and track the results, I won on both of those, and obviously I was in a good mood and wanted to start off on a good foot with this series of videos, but obviously you're gonna lose, and it wouldn't be responsible of me not to cover that and sort of coach any beginners out there who are into betting. And because I mean, who wants to see someone ruin their life or put a big dent in their bank account or anything? But also just the emotions of it. So just real quickly, I think I'll do an entire video one day associated with that. But in general, losses. So let me go over my record here to show you what my record is using this betting model this year so far. So right here, this is probably not a good idea, but I do it anyways, just throwing my record right inside my main bash script that runs my model, because I could easily mess up some of the code in there, but I just know it so well that it doesn't really matter. So I'm 80 and 38. Okay, that's a pretty good record, right? Now let's put that into percentage. 80, 38. So it's going to be 113, 118. 80 divided by 118 times 100 will give you your percentage. 67.79, so I'm heading to 68%. That's not that great. So for this model, and you can't speak in general terms, but to actually make money, you need 70% plus, really. If you can turn into 70% winning percentage or more, you're doing something really good. This is the percentage. Anything lower than 66, I would say, definitely put the brakes on it and question if you want to continue using this. It's just, of course, it matters what your betting units are, and how consistently. But based on a consistent betting unit, if you're using the same amount of money to place on the bet for the majority of your bets, the vast majority of your bets, this is a good ballpark. I'm down this year in percentage, not where I want to be. Financially, I'm okay. It's just sort of like a tiny sliver of income that I'm making off of this. But I don't do it just for that, obviously. If I did just for that, I would get into the stock market, and that's not my thing. That's just kind of a soulless venture for me. This is just fun because I love the sport of baseball, and that's kind of why I do this. But for anybody else who's interested, yeah, this is that was my record, 80 and what was that? 38, 60 and 38 was it? 80 and 38. And I mean, if that was the record of a baseball team, that's actually pretty good. They'd be at the top of their division, right? But in terms of making money off it, it is. I wouldn't say it's rigged against you, but the odds are in the favor of the house always. I mean, that's just common sense, and you have to go into it knowing that. But so this is actually, I have friends who tell me, like, are you serious? You actually win, that amount? Like, a lot of chaps, if you read like some of the, Reddit subreddits dedicated to betting and stuff, like, people have piss poor luck with this sport. So I remind myself of that as well, even though I'm not, making a ton of money off it. So that said, losses. I had a loss last night. What are some things some practices you really should fall into if you're starting to lose? And it's just number one, all the cliche expressions: pick yourself up, dust yourself off, your bootstraps, blah blah blah, kiss your mom, whatever. So first thing is first is just learn from your freaking losses. You should know that if you're an adult. But one thing obviously is to keep good records. When you lose, sometimes you just want to kick the dirt, go for a walk, forget about everything. Some people handle it that way. So I recommend automating your results through a script. If you can get into betting and programming at the same time, that's kind of what I did. I got into programming later, but that is extremely helpful as well. So what I do is make a screenshot of the model from the previous day, and I have that load every time my script loads. You'll notice that on the last two videos. So this was my pick. I went with the red just instinctually, but I did look at the peripherals. I did take a picture right here. You can see where the highlight is of the red. This was a pitcher I hadn't heard of for the Rays, but he looked good. I looked at his last two starts. He wasn't as solid though as this guy, my opponent, and this guy just had an on night. He just held it down. He had his stuff. Gilbert, I think it was, or I forget who it was. Seattle has an amazing pitching staff this year, but yeah, this is what screwed me basically. Is he held them to one run and started off looking good the first inning, and another thing you can do. Let me just throw this in there for dealing with losses, loss management. Is switching to, instead of pregame betting, live game betting. So you get that one inning advantage where you can just watch both teams, see how everyone's performing, especially the pitching, first inning. That's what I did last night. So I stayed all the way up to watch this West Coast game, and yeah, he didn't perform. Everything was going out great after the first inning. So I locked it in, got the bet in, and then the Mariners took off with their hitting. This guy he's too young, too inexperienced, and I should have seen that. And look how close, the numbers are. I thought, being in the range, this would work, but it didn't. So always study the previous day's results, okay? So with that said, this is just going to be a kind of a quick one. Let's just go over what we have tonight, and I'll give some brief impressions. I have seen this information before. Here we go again. I hate doing this. It just kind of makes me, sigh. Rays, Mariners again, same range output. Even I think the double plays is the same. Look at that. I'm just going to fade this. It looks almost exactly the same, except this pitcher has a slight edge. You could say bounce back. I don't know. I'm just disgusted with this matchup, so I'm going to look at something else. This catches my eye because Milwaukee's first on the list. They're way down on the range. Closest to 688 is really the best in this column here. And let's see, the other thing that catches my eye is they had an off day yesterday. For good teams like Milwaukee, they're way above 500. I find that the first game after an off day is really good. Also the fourth game, it's another tip for this model. Really good outcomes on that. And I kind of don't even need to look into it. That this looks like a good thing, but you should look at Giants previous day performance. You should look at who these pitchers actually are, just to make sure that they're both we can go down to here to this table, scrapes all the pertinent stuff. This actually puts Webb, the opposing pitcher, ahead, but then ours will be right down here, real close, second, third here. So he has 17 innings under his belt. Ooh, he's kind of topping off. So here's another little nuance to this script. These are innings pitched in last 18 days, so trying to capture data for 3 starts for starting pitchers. And a sweet spot for me is like 18, 19. I will do 20. This is kind of high, so I'm going to look into this guy. Myers off the top of my head. I scrape all these URLs to check them out. Let me just do that as an example to give you an example of how I pick for pitching, especially for unknown pitchers who I haven't watched all season. Tobias Myers, okay, no, I do remember his name. He's a 26-year-old, so that factors in, right? Like, how is his arm going to be after that many innings? So, okay, he's been with the Brewers all season. That's good. You just want stability, basically. Ooh, so here's something. He went 4 innings and gave up 2 runs. Wow, I wonder why they brought him out. So that's newsworthy. I would look that up. Why has he been pitching pretty long into games are long, and then all of a sudden only 4 innings? Only gave up 2 runs. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So that's something to look up. I'm not going to make any picks today. Today is just kind of to go over some of the techniques of the script, but you have all the data here. If you wish to use this data, that's up to you, of course. As it says in the legal disclaimer, it's on you guys what you do with this data. I'm just scraping it and purifying it and looking at what I think are the biggest factors. So good luck for anyone betting today, and catch you next time.